Yo guys, this is your artist Tolg, and today I'm drawing on an A2 size paper again, the last sheet of this sketchbook. Marcos Madeira ordered 5 A2 size custom drawings, which is crazy. I really appreciate it, and today we will start with the first one. And of course, if you are also interested in custom drawings, send me a message on Instagram or email. So after we created these 2 A2 size drawings for Marcos a few months ago, this time Marcos wanted a Dragon Ball GT drawing series, starting with GOGETA SSj4 versus Omega Shenron. I love the idea, and I already did a drawing with both of them a few years ago, which turned out okay, so let's see how much I've improved since then. For the new drawing, I want to create a very dynamic and special fight scene, so I was searching for some cool fight poses, and this one catched my eye. Goku and Vegeta in a very dynamic pose, and in this I saw Omega instead of Vegeta and Gogeta instead of Goku. I think that would be a very cool scene, and I'm already starting with drawing the rough shape of the poses, just to know the shape and form of the characters and to fit them both full body on this paper sheet easily. These are very difficult poses to draw, it's a very special angle, and these lines and rough shapes will help me so much, even if these are just for orientation. I will guide you through the whole drawing process, so make sure to watch the whole video, like and subscribe. So the mouth of Omega will be very wide open, the sharp teeth we can see fully, and overall Omega Shenron has a very unique design with lots of details, which is difficult to draw, especially from this angle. So he has horns on top of his head and also on the chin, and he has a very edgy face shape. The ears are long and spiky, and he also has a mustache-like thing under the nose, which looks like sensors. So the body is also big, very muscular and defined. He has a very big chest and shoulders. On the chest and abdominal area, Omega has Dragon Balls, but for now, we will just draw circles. On top of his shoulders, Omega has long horns, and the arms will be spread. We will draw the muscles on the arms very defined, and he also has long horns coming out of the elbows. The hands and fingers will also be spread, and Omega also has very small horns on his knuckles. And also some horns coming out of his back. Again, a very special and difficult design, but I like this. So one leg will be banded, and from the knee a horn will come out as well. The feet we can see a little bit with 3 toes, and of course each toe has a big horn coming out. The other arm we will draw the same, also spread and with the same muscle definition, and also open hands. The other leg will be high, and we can see it behind the body, which creates a very dynamic pose, and drawing the leg like this was really a challenge because it kinda looks unnatural, but I managed to make it look pretty good. And that would be it for Omega Shenron. He looks great in that pose, and now we will draw Gogeta also in a dynamic pose. He will punch Omega in the back with his elbow, and the rest of the body will also be in motion. He Here as well, we are starting roughly first, so drawing the shape of the arms and the fist lightly, and then adding the details to it. We will also surround the lower arm with an aura, so the attack has more power and comes more intense. Gogeta wears a wristband and has very hairy arms because of the Super Saiyan 4 transformation. The fusion jacket we can only see from one side. The jacket is short and has big shoulder and neck pads. The muscles on the chest are very defined and the abdominal area is also covered in fur except of the upper abs. So the head is lifted up a little bit so we can see the bottom part of the nose. To draw the face easy, I'm starting with two guidelines, one horizontal and one vertical. With these lines, I can add the face features like the eyes, nose and mouth very easy, and we will give Gogeta a nice smirk as Omega is no match for him. So Super Saiyan 4 has big hair, which stands very high and has a few but very large hair strands and also some coming down from the neck. So the lower part of Gogeta is also very dynamic and in motion, which means the leg will be raised up while the knee is very high and the other leg is kinda relaxed but still a bit angled. The pants of Gogeta are very loose and white, has lots of wrinkles and are sticked into the bandages which covers most of the lower legs. Gogeta also has a tail and the other leg we will draw the same way with lots of wrinkles on the pants. Now I'm also surrounding Gogeta with an aura to finish up the sketch. Again, very dynamic poses, and drawing all this on an A2 size paper made everything much more difficult, but I like the result and now we are going to ink this. I'm using pens from Ohuhu, and for larger drawings like this I'm using thicker pens. As you can see, the sketch is perfectly accurate, so now we can just trace all the lines, relaxed, easy and slow, and after erasing we will improve the lines by going over the entire picture one more time. So I'm using the same pen and I'm going over all the lines one more time. This time I'm making all the lines thicker, making them more accurate, perfectly clean, and also adding details to the characters. For example, making the fur of Gogeta look real hairy with some small lines. I love inking like this, it takes a bit more time, but if you want to create very high quality and clean art, you have to spend a lot of time and hours on your artwork because there are no shortcuts. So, the line art looks great, and now we can start the coloring. These are the color tones I'm using for Omega Shenron. These are mostly Ohuhu brush markers with some small additions, and we will start with coloring all the horns. Basically, the horns are black, but I'm coloring the outer parts with a brighter gray to give it more definition and details. Next we will color the mouth area with a purple and blue tongue, and we will give the teeth some nice gray shading. And now to the big coloring part, the skin. Choosing the right color tones for Omega was not easy because he has a weird skin color tone. It's a mix of beige, warm gray, and also kinda yellow. So these are the tones I chose, which I already mentioned. So let me know if these are the correct tones for Shenron. So basically, the rest of Omega we will now color with these tones, so I needed to make sure that I'm using pretty new markers for this, because I could run out of ink easily, as this is a very large area to color, and as you know, I'm using multiple layers with each tone to color as even as possible. The shades we are adding along the muscle definition, wrinkles, edges, and stuff like that. You always have to make things as simple as possible, and if you orientate yourself on things like this, you always know where to place the shades. I also wanted to give Omega a very detailed coloring, so I'm using a few different tones to make the skin and coloring look very defined. Dragon balls on the front part will be blue, and we will add the stars to them at the very end. And this is how the coloring goes, guys. I needed around 4 hours to color Omega alone, so take your time on this, take some little breaks, and enjoy the process. Perfect. Finally we are done with coloring the skin of Shenron, and now I want to add some scratches and blood all over Omega to show the gap of power levels between him and Gogeta. Therefore I'm using color pencils and we will add the scratches all over the body. So now adding the stars to the Dragon Balls and then we are done. He turned out really good, I love the results, and now we will color Gogeta. These are the color tones I'm using for him, also mostly Ohuhu brush markers, and these tones are always mentioned from bright to dark. So the hair is red with bright parts on the very outer parts on each hair strand, and the shading we will add along the hairlines. It's another very simple technique to add the shading, but not everything has to be complicated. And of course, we are using these tones very even as well. So the eyes are blue with a white dot and the skin will be bright with some heavy shading. The shades we will add on the inner side of Gogeta, so the aura will come more intense. The jacket and wristbands are black with brighter gray on the outer parts, and the pads are orange, therefore we are using a few different orange tones. The fur is dark red, and here as well we want to create a very even coloring, and for the fur we will use the markers like a brush, so make the fur look real hairy. This is a bit more demanding. Same goes for the tail and the shading we will add on the inner part. Alright, so now to the pants. This is also a very big area to color, and here as well I needed pretty new markers so they don't run out of ink halfway through, and as the pants has lots of wrinkles, adding the shades will be very easy. These shades we will color even, not perfectly even, as we will add another darker layer of shades to the pants.
Pick up the phone.
These we are also adding along the wrinkles, making the shades deep, and then we will do some blending and increase the contrast of the pants, and now we will make this huge area perfectly even.
Pick up the phone.
The bandages and the belt are blue, and here I'm also using a few different tones, using a lot of blending, even coloring and shading.
Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone.
Perfect, and to finish up Gogeta, we will now color the other leg the same way. Here I was almost running out of ink, but fortunately it lasted for this drawing. Alright guys, Gogeta looks very dynamic and vibrant, the drawing looks great already, and now we will surround Gogeta with an aura. Using two yellow tones for this, the darker tone on the outer side and the brighter tone on the inner side. We are also leaving a huge white area closer to Gogeta to create a nice glowing effect. We are using the marker like a brush to create a spiky aura with bigger and smaller waves. This will make the aura look more dynamic. Alright guys, both characters are done, and now to the background. On the lower part we will draw the ground and rocks, and the upper part will be the sky. Using a pen to draw the rocks very detailed with lots of cracks and lines, and also some bigger and smaller rocks which are floating around. Now we will use a few gray tones for the coloring. I'm using the lines and cracks on the rocks to add the shading, and we will use multiple layers here as well. This is a very large area to color. Remember, I'm drawing on an A2 size paper, so I needed very new markers for this part. The last few drawings were all A2 size drawings, and the next few drawings will also be A2 size drawings. That means a lot of work. I think a lot of markers will be dead after that, but that also means that you guys are supporting me very much, and I really appreciate that. Alright guys, the rocks are looking great. I love the coloring on them, and now we will color the sky. Here I'm using a few different blue-green tones, and I wanted to color the sky a bit different today. I wanted to create a nice illusion with the colors blending into each other, which is not easy. So the idea is great, but I think the implementation didn't quite work well. At least I imagined it kinda different in my head. It still looks good, I just imagined the sky a bit different in my head, but things like that can happen. So let me know what you think of the sky so far, and with that, let's finish the drawing. Alright guys, we just finished another big custom drawing, the first of 5 A2 size drawings for Markers, and we started this Dragon Ball GT custom drawing series with a banger. GOGETA Super Saiyan 4 versus Omega Shenron in a very dynamic fight scene on a huge paper sheet. Man, this was so much work. I love the drawing, it was fun to create, and I think the results are really good. Omega looks great in that pose. He has a very special design, which I really like. I love the colors I chose for him and the detailed coloring. GOGETA looks very vibrant, dominant, and the background gives the drawing a lot of variation. So Marcos and I are really happy with the results. Alright guys, now let me know in the comments what you think of this. Also give me inspiration for future videos and like the video to show me your support. You can also support me on Patreon. If you appreciate my work, that would be amazing. Also subscribe to my real-time channel for full-time drawing videos, and check out my online shop for original drawings and prints. For commissions, message me on Instagram or email, and if your custom drawing fits to my channel, I will make a video out of it and mention your name in a video just like today. All the links down below in the info box, including the links to the materials I'm using. That's it guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next